There's a level of mastery that makes people look at you and wonder if you're operating on a different frequency. Today, you'll discover the ancient system that transforms complete beginners into unstoppable experts faster than anyone thought possible. Have you ever watched someone pick up a guitar and within months they're playing songs that took others years to learn? Or seen that person who starts a business and somehow navigates every challenge like they've been doing it for decades? While everyone else struggles with the basics for years, they seem to absorb knowledge like a sponge and apply it with precision that defies logic. And you know what most people think? They're naturally gifted. They have some special talent the rest of us don't possess. They got lucky with good teachers. But that's the biggest lie we tell ourselves about mastery. What these people understand is something that was developed 400 years ago in the mountains of Japan. A learning system so powerful that it could take a farmer's son and turn him into a master swordsman whose techniques would be studied for centuries. They called it Shuhari, and once you understand how it works, you'll never struggle to learn anything again. But there's a catch. This system requires you to abandon everything you think you know about learning. It demands you kill the part of your ego that wants to be special from day one. Before I show you exactly how this system transforms amateurs into masters, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and comment below with the one skill you want to master most in your life. Whether it's programming, music, martial arts, or building a business, this system works for everything. Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Broken Student. The story I'm about to tell you happened to a guy named Marcus, a 24-year-old software developer who had a problem that was eating him alive. Marcus was trapped in what I call the eternal beginner phase. He'd start learning something new with incredible enthusiasm: photography, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Spanish, day trading, music production. The pattern was always the same. Week 1, total obsession. Week 2, some progress that felt promising. Week 3, he'd hit a wall and start looking for shortcuts. Week 4, complete abandonment. Marcus wasn't lazy, he wasn't stupid. He'd graduated with honors from a top engineering school. At work, he could solve complex technical problems that left his colleagues scratch their heads. But when it came to learning new skills outside his expertise, he was cursed with mediocrity. His apartment looked like a graveyard of abandoned hobbies: a dusty guitar in the corner, photography equipment that hadn't been touched in months, language learning apps with streaks that never made it past 20 days. The breaking point came during a company retreat. His colleague James mentioned he'd been learning piano for 8 months and offered to play something. Marcus expected chopsticks or maybe a simple melody. Instead, James sat down and played a beautiful piece that left the entire room silent. After the applause died down, Marcus pulled James aside. "How is that possible? You've only been learning for 8 months. I've tried piano 3 different times and never got past basic scales." James smiled. "I used to be just like you, man, starting and stopping everything. Then my teacher showed me this Japanese learning method called Shuhari. It completely changed how I approach mastery." Marcus had never heard the term, but something in James's confidence told him this was different. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He spent hours researching Shuhari, and what he discovered would revolutionize everything he thought he knew about learning. Chapter 2: The 3 Gates of Mastery. Shuhari isn't just a learning method. It's a complete philosophy that recognizes 3 distinct phases every master must pass through. The word itself reveals the journey. Shu means to obey or protect. Ha means to break or detach. Rai means to leave or separate. Each phase serves a specific purpose. And here's the crucial part that destroys most people's learning attempts. You cannot skip phases. You cannot rush through them. You cannot take shortcuts. Marcus discovered that his entire approach to learning had been backwards. He'd been trying to innovate before he could imitate. He'd been seeking his own style before mastering anyone else's. He'd been attempting to break rules he'd never learned in the first place. The Shuhari system revealed why this approach guaranteed failure every single time. In the Shu phase, you become a perfect copy. You don't add your personal touch. You don't try to improve the method. You don't even fully understand why you're doing what you're doing. You simply follow instructions with obsessive precision until the fundamentals become as natural as breathing. Most modern learners hate this phase because it feels like you're surrendering your creativity and independence. But masters understand something beginners don't. You must earn the right to be creative. The Ha phase is where you begin to break free from rigid imitation. But here's what most people miss. You only enter Ha after Shu is complete. This is where you start to understand the principles behind the techniques. You begin to see patterns and connections. You start adapting and combining different approaches. But you're not rebelling against the fundamentals. You're building upon them with deep understanding. The final phase, Ri, is where true mastery lives. At this level, You've transcended conscious technique. You don't think about what to do. You simply respond with perfect instinct. The skill has become part of your identity. You're no longer someone who practices the skill. You've become the skill itself. Marcus realized he'd been trying to jump straight to re in everything he attempted. He wanted to feel like a natural guitarist after a few weeks. He expected to trade stocks like a pro after watching some YouTube videos. He thought he could develop his own photography style before understanding basic composition. This revelation was both crushing and liberating. Crushing because he had to admit he'd been approaching learning completely wrong. Liberating because now he had a roadmap that actually worked. The question that burned in Marcus's mind was simple. If this system was so effective, why didn't everyone use it? The answer would force him to confront the most uncomfortable truth about modern learning culture. Chapter 3: The Ego's Greatest Enemy. The reason most people never discover Shuhari isn't because it's hidden or secret. It's because everything about modern culture tells us it's wrong. We live in an age that worships innovation over imitation. We celebrate the rebel who breaks all the rules, not the student who follows them perfectly. We've been taught that copying is for the weak, that real creativity means finding your own path from day one. Marcus found himself face to face with this cultural programming when he decided to test Shuhari with guitar. He'd failed at learning guitar twice before, each time because he got bored with basic chords and tried to jump straight to playing his favorite songs. This time would be different. This time, he would embrace the Shu phase completely. He found a local instructor named David who had been teaching for 30 years. When Marcus explained what he wanted to do, David's eyes lit up. Finally, someone who gets it. Most students come to me wanting to play Stairway to Heaven in their first month. They think I'm holding them back when I make them practice the same chord progressions for weeks. David laid out the Shu program with military precision. 6 basic chords. Practice them for 20 minutes every single day. No songs, no creativity, no personal expression, just pure mechanical repetition until muscle memory took over. The first week felt like torture. Marcus's fingers cramped. The chord changes were clunky and slow. His engineering brain kept telling him this was inefficient, that there had to be a faster way. But he remembered what he'd learned about Shuhari. The discomfort wasn't a sign he was doing something wrong. It was proof he was doing something right. Every master in history had walked this exact path. They'd all endured the humiliation of being beginners who couldn't even hold their instrument properly. By week 3, something shifted. The chord changes started flowing without conscious thought. His fingers found their positions automatically. He wasn't thinking about finger placement anymore because his body had learned the patterns. This was when Marcus understood the first profound truth of Shuhari. Mastery begins in the body, not the mind. His friends didn't understand what was happening. "Dude, you've been playing the same 6 chords for a month. When are you going to learn actual songs?" Marcus just smiled and kept practicing. He was beginning to experience something most people never feel: the deep satisfaction of genuine progress built on solid foundations. Chapter 4: The Dangerous Transition. Month 4 brought the moment Marcus had been waiting for and dreading. David announced it was time to enter the Ha phase. "You've mastered the fundamentals," David said. "Now we're going to start breaking them." But Marcus, this is where most students destroy everything they've built. They think Ha means throwing away what they learned in Shu. It doesn't. It means building upon it with intelligence. The Ha phase introduced Marcus to different musical styles, various strumming patterns, and techniques from multiple teachers. For the first time in months, he was allowed to experiment and adapt. But here's what made this different from his previous failed attempts. Every experiment was grounded in the solid foundation he'd built during Shu. When he tried a new technique, his fingers already knew where to go. When he attempted a different rhythm, his muscle memory provided the stability he needed to take risks. This was when Marcus discovered the second truth of Shuhari. Creativity isn't the enemy of discipline. It's the child of discipline. You can't innovate effectively until you've mastered the basics so thoroughly that they become invisible. The Ha phase wasn't about rejecting his training. It was about using that training as a launching pad for genuine expression. Marcus's story didn't end with guitar mastery. It became a blueprint he applied to everything: programming languages, cooking, even relationships. Because once you understand Shuhari, you realize it's not just about learning skills. It's about understanding how mastery actually works in any domain. The 3 phases aren't just steps. They're the fundamental pattern of all human development. Most people will never experience true mastery because they refuse to surrender their ego long enough to become beginners. They want the results without the process. They want to feel special without doing the work that makes you special. But you're different. If you've watched this far, you already understand something most people never will. Shuhari isn't just an ancient Japanese method. It's the secret that separates those who dream about mastery from those who achieve it. The question isn't whether this system works. The question is whether you're willing to pay the price it demands. Choose your skill, find your teacher, enter Shu with complete humility, and prepare to become someone others will look at and think operates on a different frequency. Because you will.